Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am going to show you guys how to make a Ninja Turtle cake today. So I am going to be making Leonardo today because he is the favorite of my nephew and this cake is for him, and I'm going to walk you through how I made it. So the first thing I'm going to do is layer my cakes. So I've already made my cakes in buttercream and leveled them off, and I'm going to layer each cake with buttercream icing and then crumb coat the top. Because I am placing fondant on these cakes, I want the sides to be as smooth as possible, so I'm just going to scrape down the edges and then I'm also going to flatten out the top for this crumb coat. I'm going to put that in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to start on my second cake, which is going to be the head of the turtle. I'm going to ice up the sides just like I did the first cake. I'm going to crumb coat the sides of this cake as well, and then after it's cold, I'm going to put on a thicker layer of buttercream. Once this cake is nice and smooth, I am going to put it in the refrigerator and start working on all of my fondant details. So for the head of the turtle, I'm just going to roll out a turtle green color fondant. I did color all of these from a white fondant that I purchased. I like putting a lot of cornstarch down on my little rollout mat, and then I'm just going to cover my cake and smooth out all the edges. A trick I've found for this is never just work on one side, work your way all the way around the cake so nothing becomes bunched up or pulled. Once the edges are nice and smooth, I'm just going to cut off the excess with a pizza roller and do a little bit of finishing touches. Then I'm going to trim off any excess with a sharp knife. Now I'm going to make the mask for the turtle, and I'm doing this in blue because it is Leonardo. So I'm going to roll out a piece of fondant as large as the cake's circumference. So you can easily just take a string and then measure how long the circumference of the cake is so you can make your mask the right length. And then I'm going to use these egg cookie cutters. So they're really for Easter, but I find that cookie cutters are useful in so many different situations. So I'm going to use them as the eyes and cut out 2 holes in the blue mask. And then I'm going to use white fondant and use the same cookie cutter to fill the holes. And that is going to make the eye. Now sometimes you might not have every cutter that you need, but you can be pretty creative and come up with a couple different ways to cut out shapes for your cakes, or you can even freehand it. So I'm going to take a little bit of black fondant, and I did not have the size of circle that I wanted. So I ended up using a jigger to do this because the circles that came out of it were perfect for the pupils. So I cut out 2 little eyes. And then I'm just going to use a piping tip to take 2 little white dots to be a highlight in the eyes, just to make them a little bit more lifelike. And then I'm going to use water just to get all the fondant to stick together and stay. So at first I tried to put the mask on as one solid piece, but the eyes were falling off, so I decided to do the mask first and then just put the eyeballs directly into the mask. You're just going to wrap it around your cake back into the bandana. And then I just put my pre-made eyes kind of back into the bandana and worked my way around to fit it to the cake. I'm going to cut one little wing off of my blue fondant and use that as the other side of my fabric as if it's tied behind his eyes. And there you go, that's the turtle cake, which is going to be the top of it. And then we're going to start working on the bottom. You could stop there and it's a really cute cake if you're having a really small party and you don't need a big cake. It's really cute on its own, but because this is a larger party, I am going to be making a bottom tier, which is going to be kind of a sewer pipe that the turtles are living under. I rolled out my gray fondant and then I'm just gonna do the same thing I did with the top tier, and I'm just gonna cover it in gray fondant. Once all the edges are smoothed out and the cake is done, I'm just going to cut away the excess. Now I got these silicone molds off of Amazon. You can get them at any cake store as well. And you're going to just press and indent the brick form into the cake. There were some spots where it wasn't perfect and I had to go in with a boning tool and fix the bricks. And then I'm going to cut a long strip out that is going to be the base of the cake. And I'm just going to use water to adhere that to the cake. And then to make it look more like a sewer drain, I am going to cut out with a piping tip that's a little bit medium sized. I'm going to flatten it out and then put 2 divots in it to make it look like screws or bolts. And then I'm going to put some silver luster dust in some vodka, and then I'm going to paint it so it looks metallic and shiny. A little bit of this stuff goes a long way. And then because we all know Ninja Turtles love pizza so much, I am going to put a little slice of pizza on this cake. So I'm just going to use some orange brown color to make the crust of the pizza, and then yellow for the cheese. And then I'm going to cut out some small little red dots and smush them down with my fingers to make some pepperoni. Now I want this piece of pizza to sit over the edge of the cake, so I'm going to let this piece of fondant dry on a cake pan so that it'll have the correct shape once I put it on the cake. So I'm going to start working on the weapons. So Leonardo's weapons are 2 katanas. So I'm just going to shape gray fondant out to look like swords, and then a little bit of black fondant attached to it to make it look like a handle. And I'm going to paint the swords in the same metallic color so they actually look like metal. Now I did not show it, but I did put skewers through the swords so that I'd be able to dry them and stick them in the cake upright. So I'm going to put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo on the front of the cake. You can just print this out if you want to, but I'm just going to be using some parchment paper and then an image on my phone to just draw out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle logo. I like using parchment paper because then you can just tape it over your fondant and then cut out whatever shape that you want. Once all the letters are cut out, I'm just going to make sure they fit together nicely, and then I'm going to use some water on the back of the fondant to adhere all of the letters to the cake. To make the letters have a little bit more dimension, I am going to use a black edible marker and just give the letters a little bit of shadow. Then to make sure the cake stays together, I'm going to cut 4 dowels and put them in the center of my cake so there's some support when I put the head on. And there's the cake stacked with the turtle head and the soar and the logo. And then I'm just going to add my little piece of pizza to the corner. This cake is super cute, and because I love Ninja Turtles as a kid too, I really enjoyed making this cake. And then I just put the katanas that were on skewers into the cake and used half a toothpick to hold them together to stabilize. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you like seeing cakes and cocktails, and I will see you guys next time.